And welcome back to Sin and Fin, the Dugout Decisions Show. The Blue Jays won a series. They won two games against the LA Angels in a much-needed series win. But more importantly, we got a new guest on the podcast, probably the most infamous guest we've had on this podcast so far. It's my dad. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Great weekend of ball. That was fun. Great to get back on track with a series win and looking forward to a great series coming up too.
Yeah, it was certainly a great first two games for the Blue Jays. I mean, the Friday night game was a tight game, 2-0 win for the Blue Jays. And then for those who tuned in Saturday's game, holy smokes, that was fun to watch. A 14-2, I believe, win. And then today it was different. Eric Lauer on the mound and things turned around, but we'll get to him later. And with that, we'll get to the series standouts here. So, I mean, no better guy to put at the top of the list than a guy who's been a huge part for this Blue Jays rotation so far, and that's Dylan Cease. We acquired him for a heck of a lot of money. He had a 4 ERA last year, and people were wondering why we gave a guy $200 million with a 4 ERA, and we're seeing it now. He has a 2.58 ERA right now. He went seven innings pitched, and if you guys watched the start of his outing there, his pitch count was incredible.
Mhm.
It was really good. And that's been something that we haven't quite seen. And I thought the Blue Jays broadcast showed that a lot. Where hey, like every one of Dylan Cease's starts so far has been like 105 pitches or above, which is not sustainable, at least to me. You look at that, it's April. And we're in May now, and you have a guy who throws consistently 98, 99, throwing that at least 60, 70 fastballs an outing, and then he's throwing like 100 pitches. Like it's just not good. But in this outing, he finished with his pitch count in the 90s, and he had 10 strikeouts. He was incredible for this Blue Jays team.
And his stuff's electric. It's fun. He looks even better than a 2.58 ERA, even though as good as that is. He's fun to watch. Great pitch selection, great movement on almost every pitch he throws. I can't believe Mike Trout got a single off that one he hit
Oh
off
my
him.
goodness.
It just tells you it's Mike Trout because his pitches are so good. I couldn't have thrown a bat and hit that ball. That was amazing. So,
Yeah, he's outstanding every outing. It's not matter of the stuff, it's the location. If,
yeah.
if he can locate his pitches and if he has command, he'll be in for a great outing. And it was a great outing. And that was I mean, the Blue Jays needed him to be that good because the bats weren't humming Friday night, and Dylan Cease pitched a gem. Another guy who's been just tremendous to have with this Blue Jays team, and he was instrumental in their postseason run last year. That's Trey Savage. Trey Savage isn't the pitcher right now that would go 5, 6 innings and maybe even 7 innings and give you a lot of innings right now. But that's because he's building back up after his injury. But the small innings he's pitching in, he's been very effective. I mean, we're talking about small ERAs all over the place right now, and we'll get to the bullpen after this. Trey Savage, and I think 3 starts has a .68
yeah.
ERA. He's in Louis Barland category and territory right there, and he's just been throwing a lot of pitches. He struck out the side in the first inning, I
Mhm.
think, on all splitters, which was tremendous to watch. But after that, he threw a heck of a lot of pitches, and then it was 87 pitches, and he came out after 5 innings.
Yeah, no, he's been great, and you can still see he's not back yet. He's not all the way back yet. So I was actually surprised because opposite of Dylan Cease, I actually thought his ERA was a little higher looking at him. But I mean, numbers are what they are. .68 is amazing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And then the bullpen has been tremendous. I mean, it seems like every series I mention all the guys in the bullpen, and it's not like one or two guys. Obviously, like Louis Barland, Tyler Rogers, if you look at their season stats, they've been incredible. But the other guys, we were talking about Spencer Miles before the
yeah,
podcast.
3 innings.
3 innings. This was a guy who pitched like I think it was he hadn't pitched above A ball
Mm.
before the season started because of all the injuries and stuff. Take him in the Rule 5 draft, and he's been a huge story for this Blue Jays team. Even Tommy Nance has done a really good job. He pitched today, and so many other guys. Even Joe Mantiply. Like the guy is not like super fun to watch. Just talk about Dylan Cease. Joe Mantiply is throwing like 89, 90 with a changeup. It's not too fun to watch, but the results and the outcomes are there. And they went 11 innings pitched and they gave up 1 run.
Yeah,
Like
one run.
that's insane. They've been like this for a month and a half. It's crazy.
Yeah, Miles, you were talking about yeah, Savage. Miles struck out the first two batters he faced today, and that's the 1 and 2 hitters. Like, and he was out of the inning without any trouble. I think he got one guy on, but that was it. Like, yeah, it's been impressive. Like one earned run. Like that speaks for itself.
Yeah, and then moving to the other side of the field here, we're talking about hitting,
Mhm.
and hitting was something that we kind of struggled with going into the series. There was the Jesus Sanchez storyline we talked about, where Jesus has been struggling. He's in the 600s for the OPS, and just not hitting the ball as hard as we know he can. And we saw him Saturday. I mean, the guy hit a nuke off a position player, but if you can do that against real pitching that would be great. And we have some good hitters here who produce in this series. And the first one we'll talk about here is Dalton Varsho.
Yeah.
Varsho was excellent in his time last year for the Blue Jays, and we've talked about that a lot. And I went a little overboard with that and said he was going to hit the most home runs for the Blue Jays this year, which doesn't look too likely right now. And we heard in spring training that he was going for more of an all fields approach. Don't know how I feel about that. The
Mhm.
power numbers haven't been there, but at least he's starting to hit. And as I was just talking about with the lack of home runs, all of his hits in the series were singles. Like that, I don't want Dalton
No.
Varsho to hit for singles. And he was 5 for 12 in this series. If you go 2 for 12 with 2 homers or a homer and a double, like I would take that over all singles just because it's instant offense. But it's good to see Dalton Varsho producing again.
Absolutely, and I love watching Varsho. He's fun to watch. He plays the game right. He does. I mean, last year, look at his numbers in not much more than half a season. I mean, the guy has power. The in the the first part of this year, he looked like that was continuing on. Just for whatever reason, it just hasn't clicked. But I'd like to see him hit with power. I think he could easily be a 30 home run guy. If he puts it all together. But anyway, nice to see him back.
Yeah, and then Ernie Clement was another guy
Mm.
who was scuffling. And as I was talking about the last episode, just Miles Straw kept saying he was popping up to the first baseman every time that Ernie was popping up at the first baseman every time. And it kind of felt like that. It
Mm.
just wasn't a lot of hard contact, and you don't see a lot of hard contact from Ernie, but you really saw none of it the past few weeks. And it was good to see him go 6 for 12 in the series. And he may have gone 1 for 7 outside of game two. But when you look at game two, 5 for 5, those aren't flukes. I mean, you had 5 hits, whether it's against a position player or not.
Doesn't matter.
5 hits are 5 hits, and it was great to see Ernie, like Barshow, back to old Clement fashion.
Yeah, you don't see 5 hits in a game very often. I don't care if there's a position player in there for the last one or not. And yeah, and Ernie hasn't been playing the way we used to be seeing Ernie, but yeah, like he's fun to watch too. Great series from him. Hopefully this keeps rolling.
Yeah. And here's another guy. Like I did not anticipate this guy being on our
On our
list
list.
for serious standouts, at least on the offensive side of
Mm,
things. We've talked about Brandon Valenzuela
mm.
being tremendous on the defensive side of things. You think of his arm and his ability to throw base runners, but even with ABS and picking and choosing when to challenge pitches, he's
Yeah,
been incredible. Well, he went 4 for 5 in game two. Just insane stuff. And then a 3 run home run, I think, as a righty. It was against Mitch Ferris, I believe, for the Angels. It wasn't like it didn't scrape over the fence by any means. It was a well hit ball and ended up going over the fence for a home run. So it's great to see Brandon Valenzuela continue to hit and produce, whether that be offensively or defensively. And if you're Tyler Heineman sitting on the bench right now, you got to be pretty nervous
yeah.
because you see Alejandro Kirk getting healthier and healthier. I think he just started swinging a bat, and his return is rather imminent the next few weeks. But I mean, Tyler Heineman could be DFA'd with
Oh yeah.
Brandon Valenzuela looking tremendous right now.
Oh, there's sometimes you just the word potential just jumps out when you watch Valenzuela. Like when he connects with a ball, when he brings the bat through the swing the way he's supposed to, the guy hits with some amazing power. The home runs I've seen, you're right, none of them are scrapes. Like when he hits it the right way. I mean, he's still, what's he hitting, 200 maybe? So he's got some work to do, but he's in the 9 hole for a reason. But no, he's got a ton of potential. He's a big, strong young guy. Yeah, if I was Hyman, I would probably have a bag packed.
Yeah, it's such easy pop too, and
Mhm.
it doesn't help that Tyler Heineman has done like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the stats up right now, but I'd be interested if he has over like 3 or 4 RBIs. Like I haven't seen anything.
Anything.
No home runs, no nothing. Even defensively, like after that huge error, I believe it was against the last time we faced the Angels, where he just threw the ball away after or no, it was the White Sox. He threw the ball away, just a series of really poor defensive mistakes. Since then, he's done nothing, and it's you got to wonder if it's a mental side of things rather than the physical. And now moving on to the struggles, not as many struggles because I mean we won the series. It was a huge series win, but there's one really looming struggle that just has been persistent for this Blue Jays team, and we've seen him on the struggles list for weeks on end now, and that's Eric Lauer.
Yeah.
Eric Lauer, really since he made those comments in the D-back
Mhm.
series that he wanted to be a starting pitcher, he was blunt and said that he hated the opener. Well, like you got to pitch like a starter to be a starter. And what did the Blue Jays do again? They had an opener for him, and the opener was excellent. Spencer
Yeah.
Miles, he went 3 innings. Tommy Nance after 1 inning. It's a very close ball game. Eric Lauer comes in,
Yeah.
and it was game over after he gave up a flurry of home runs, and it was 3 home runs
Yeah.
and two to Joe Adell. And man, if you guys haven't seen the Oswald Peraza home run, and that was the first one he gave up, that's probably the worst pitch I've ever seen.
Yeah.
A cutter right down the
Down the middle.
middle that was nuked by Oswald Peraza. Oswald Peraza is not an amazing player by any means, but I mean any player who made it as high as the major leagues could hit a ball like that and hit it very far. And Eric Lauer, like, you just got to wonder what his role is because his role keeps getting diminished. It was from a starter because that was out of necessity. We needed him to be a starter. You put him in this like piggyback role with Spencer Miles or Braden Fisher, an opener, and it's not working right now either. I just don't know what to do with Eric Lauer. Is he like a 1 inning lefty specialist, where his velo can tick up a little bit? And that's been a huge problem. His velo has been awful. Like it's been really, really bad. And as I said in the last episode, there were a lot of excuses early in the season. The guy was sick, just like many of the Blue Jays. And but since his sickness, he hasn't bounced back like many of the Blue Jays. It's just been a lot of constant 90, 91 mile per hour fastballs. And as I said in the last episode, a lot of poor location, and that's been the big thing. Like you can throw 90, 91, as long as you can command your pitches. And Hyunjin Ryu
Mhm.
was very good for a long time, and we saw that when he was a Blue Jay because he could command his pitches. He could throw that curveball in there. He could throw his changeup in there and locate it and be effective. But when you just throw like Eric Lauer's throwing right now and miss your spot, you can't afford to miss over the heart of the plate right now.
No, that was an unfortunate outing, and it's a shame because I mean, last year his arrow was up, like he was, and you're right, location. I mean, last year there wasn't a ton of hard contact off the
Yeah,
guy. Now it's just, you're right. I mean, that was a meatball down the middle of the plate, like that was, and there was a few of them, and it's just unfortunate because I don't know what the guy's role is right now. I don't think you can count on him for 3 or 4 innings in too many games anymore.
yeah.
You're going to have to find a spot where you just bring him in and maybe let him get his velo back up, let him work on his location, or you just can't afford that.
Yeah. And then the next series struggle isn't really like outcome based on the field, like it just wasn't there this weekend. No, it was more of a front office decision that I think we were baffled by, but also a lot of Blue Jays fans that have seen Hendrik Pinango
Yeah.
play recently. And a big reason why we're talking about him is because I wanted to hear you pronounce his last name. But besides his name,
No, no.
he's been tremendous, and he's been tremendous while this Blue Jays offense hasn't really been clicking, and that's because of injuries and Madison Barger and George Springer being hurt. But he's been great, and he got optioned down to AAA as the Blue Jays activated Addison Barger and chose not to option Davis Schneider or even DFA the struggling Lenine Sosa. So, your thoughts on this decision? I was pretty baffled by it. I know the fit's weird with another lefty outfielder,
Yeah.
but you just need instant offense, and he provides it.
Well, clearly that's where the decision came from was, leaving Schneider up and, sending Pagano down. Like, I mean, I don't understand it. Like we were just talking about it, watching him swing the bat the last few games. Like he's a great hitter of the baseball. Like he's smooth, he's consistent, he hits with great power and velocity. Like I just like to see the guy in the lineup because they need that. I was surprised, especially the way Schneider's played. Like I'm really surprised he wasn't the decision. Maybe there's something else behind it, but yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be Schneider down.
Yeah, so we'll see if Hendrick comes up in the next few weeks because he could totally come up and say a week. I think you need a few days, like a certain amount of days before you can get called back up
Mm-hmm.
again. But I mean, he was fantastic, and he definitely affected the way this Blue Jays team perceived him because they left Hendrick Pinango unprotected going into the Rule 5 draft,
Mm,
which means any team could
true.
pick
He was making them.
Pinango. And there were many different scenarios where they could have shown a lot of interest and just didn't really, or at least show a lot of interest and reflect a lot of interest. But now, with the production he's showing, I mean, he's really forcing a decision on their hands and forced one here. And even John Schneider said it was an incredibly hard decision, but just one that Johendrick understood because it's more situational based than just performance based because he performed
Clearly,
excellent.
yeah.
And now just moving on to the next series, which is against the Tampa Bay Rays. Oh no. Oh no. But we're not in the Trop. Everything is a lot better now. At least we'll find out. I mean, that this Rays offense is just so ticky-tack, and they've been the same thing forever. And anyways, we'll get to them. But before that, just some injury news and updates. With Addison Barger, it was tremendous seeing him back, and it was his first game yesterday. And I mean, he made a difference from the start with that throw to gun
Oh my
Jorge
goodness.
Soler down. I was listening to it on the radio, Ben Shulman and Chris LaRue, and holy smokes, they were shocked. And then I looked at the video after 101 miles per hour. And at least in my head, I was like, I can't believe a human could do this and be in the outfield and not pitching. Well, one day later, there's injury news, and it's about his elbow, which is never ever good. And you can only think it was because of that throw.
Absolutely. It was just an absolute cannon. It was like it was shot out of a gun when he threw that. I remember watching it yesterday. I mean, one hop. And give Valenzuela some credit. That
Yeah,
was a nice pick.
yeah,
That was not an easy one hopper to get and put the tag
yeah.
on the runner. Like that was impressive. But yeah, I mean, I can't figure there's a lot of guys tagging from third anymore with
I
Barger
know.
in there. Like, I mean, that he would it's just he's deadly.
Yeah. So I let's just hope he stays healthy because if this Blue Jays team
Yeah.
suffers another injury, if this proves to be a major issue where, I don't know, he goes to visit an elbow specialist, and we've seen this whole story, and I
Mhm.
think that's a great segue to a guy visiting an elbow specialist, I think, this week, and that's Jose Barrios.
Mhm.
We talked about him in the last episode as well, just where he looked really good his first few outings in the minors, 94, 95, and with the Dunedin Blue Jays. And then once he went up to the Buffalo Bisons, he couldn't find much
Yeah.
success at all. And in large part because of his fastball velocity. It was down a lot, like
Yeah.
90,
91.
91, and the results weren't there at all either. A lot of hard contact, a lot of home runs, and that led to Jose Barrios going to visit an elbow specialist, and we hope it all goes well there. I mean, this Blue Jay starting pitching is really getting taxed right now, and
Yeah.
this was a huge strength going into the season. You think of the rotation going into the year with Cody Ponce, and sure, Shane Bieber was kind of an issue. Like when he opted into the contract, you kind of knew there was something wrong there. Or like, why
Mhm.
would you take our $12 million dollars when you could have potentially got 60, $70 million dollars. So kind of knew there was an issue there, but he's still an option.
Yeah.
And Max Scherzer you
Yeah.
signed. Eric Lauer performed great last year. And here we are in May, and we're looking at guys in the minors because the starting pitching depth has really been taxed so far.
Yeah, and you really hope with Barrios that it's not something too serious and you can get that back. He's an easy guy to cheer for. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, with his velo, when it's in the mid 90s, he's a completely different pitcher, and it's not the same. Getting back to Barger, like that was, I really hope that's something that's not going to be lengthy or bother him for a long time. That's a different team. You watched that game yesterday
Yeah.
with Springer in there and Barger. That looked a lot like 2025. Everybody was hitting. I mean, by the end of the game, I mean, you didn't care who the pitcher was. I think Nance came in for the last. You could have brought Jim Nance in for the last inning if he wasn't calling a golf game. It wouldn't have mattered. They were up so much. Like that's fun to watch. They were a different team yesterday. That was one of the first times you could really see that kind of come back. So, I hope for Barger, for his sake and the team's sake, it's not too serious.
Yeah, and before Addison Barger's IL stint, he was chasing like
Yes.
crazy, and it was a very hard watch. And
Yeah.
so was Nathan Lucas, but
Yeah.
Nathan Lucas had vertigo, and he was chasing the same
Yeah,
as
that explain
the
it.
same amount as Nathan Lucas. So it was great to see him get back to being Addison Barger yesterday. I mean, he took 2 walks.
Yeah.
That's a great sign, and then to see him, I saw a report saying he had like a bunch of wrap on his elbow, like a starting pitcher would. I mean, it's one throw,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's 101 miles per hour, and you haven't done that in a long time. So hopefully, it's all good on that side of things. And then with the forecast, just looking at
Yeah.
the pitching matchups here, in the first game, it's Kevin Gausman versus Drew Rasmussen. Second game is Patrick Corbin versus Shane McClanahan, and Patrick Corbin's been really solid for this Blue Jays team. Kind of being what Eric Lauer was last year, that lefty who just
Hmm.
provides innings and solid innings and quality starts as well. So it's Patrick Corbin versus Shane McClanahan, and I was kind of grilling Shane McClanahan the last time we were before the Rays series and was like, oh, this isn't the Shane McClanahan of old. Well, he shelled us and he looked
Yeah.
excellent. And I mean, Shane McClanahan back in the day was throwing 98, 99, Cy Young candidate. He's not doing that anymore, like 95, 96 miles per hour, but he still has those secondary pitches, that changeup, that curveball. Shane McClanahan's still gross. And then the third game, you got Dylan Cease against Griffin Jacks. Griffin Jacks, a reliever, the Rays acquired last trade deadline, who was a high leverage reliever, just didn't pan out to be their closer, gave up a lot of hard contact, a lot of home runs, and they've kind of moved him into that Clay Holmes starter role where he provides 3 to 4 innings, and he's been really solid in that role. This series isn't played at the Trop. We're not predicting a sweep by the Rays no more. It's at Rogers Center. I think we got the good juju from the last series against the
Hmm.
Angels. I think we bring it into this series and we take 2 out of 3, and I'll go with our 2 best pitchers in the series to win us those 2 games, and Kevin Gausman and Dylan Cease.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I actually think they're going to sweep. I think they're going to
Ooh,
grab that middle game.
wow.
I think they kind of know the importance of a series like this after losing those three. And I mean, you're chasing two teams. It's early to chase in the season, but I mean, you've got two teams that are way ahead of everybody else,
Yeah.
and the Rays are one. So what a great time. Yeah, I think two for sure, but I'm going to go on a limb and say I think they take the third one and really get in a great place after this series.
I love it. I dig it. I think that would be great. They'd be in a solid spot. And after the Rays series, just looking a little farther ahead, it gets harder. I mean,
Mm.
the Detroit Tigers are injury pilled right now. You got Tarek Skubal losing millions of dollars, and
Poor
Framber
guy.
Valdez using his four-seam fastball to hit people. Like it's not been fun over there. And then you face the Tigers, who are still a good team. And then the leader of the AL East in the New York
Yeah.
Yankees. And then after that, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates who've been quite good to start the season.
Yeah.
They have very good starting pitching, and they're getting more with Jared Jones soon. So some tougher teams coming up. I mean, you're not playing with the Angels
No.
anymore. You're not playing with these kind of easy teams, the White Sox. No, these
No.
are some real um, present like teams with presence in the American League, and it's time to pull it together. And yeah, well, with that, thank you for coming on the podcast, sir.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. Before we go, we should mention we are doing this podcast on Sunday, is it the 10th, right? That's Mother's Day.
That's right.
So,
That is
okay,
right.
so we should have a little shout out to Christian's mom first and foremost, and most amazing mom, and to all the moms out there. Anybody that's listening, anybody who's involved at all. Happy Mother's Day.
What a good husband right here. What a good husband. Well, thank you guys for listening. Happy Mother's Day and go Jays.
Go Jays.